Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I am Dee. I have commandeered Donovan's show, News from the Edgemont. And so, what I like to do is because a lot of people know that we work together, some might not know we work together, but he's always asked a series of questions regarding the show, regarding himself, regarding politics and other things. And so we thought it'd be a good idea for someone to actually interview him and get his take on things without him having to do both roles. So without further ado, here we go. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
I am glad you are finally on the show. This is your show right now, so I'm not going to take it over. Felipe is sleeping in the back, so everything is good. I am ready to go.
All right, well, let's go. All right. So first, tell everybody what was the inspiration behind this show, News from the Edgemont?
Well, after the election was over, which I was very shocked that I lost. I was very shocked, and I'll be honest about that. I was very shocked. But what I found out was Moreno Valley has a history of people, you run and then you disappear for 4 years and then you don't come back and then the information's not there. And, after the election, I sat around for a while saying, well, what do I do now? What's going to happen? I still went to the city council meetings and I did everything that I was supposed to do. But I realized that there is no information after the election was over.
Right.
I mean, you have sources like mvgordy.com, you have Moreno Valley Residents for Sustained Development, Wake Up Mobile. You got a lot of different sources, but those stayed pretty close to the political situation. But there just wasn't enough people digging for the truth and putting it out there and using social media the way it could be used. Right. I mean, you got Moreno Valley Matters, which is pretty much a penny saver now.
Okay.
So people want to see the information, and they want to be really fast like that. And I noticed that there was a vacuum, that there was no media for this platform. And I said, well, gosh, I'm the only one that's going to be doing this because nobody's doing video and things like that I'm doing. And so I said, that's a niche that I can do and stay out there and keep the people informed. And that's why I started to do the show.
Okay, so it's interesting that you did name a couple of other sources of information out here in Moreno Valley. Let's say you did say Moreno Valley Matters.
Right.
What sets you apart?
Well, basically, my show is basically based on political events going on in the city of Moreno Valley.
Okay.
Moreno Valley Matters, Deborah Craig, met the lady, very nice lady, nothing against her, and I'm not trying to slam her publication, but people are putting on missing cats, missing dogs. It isn't really staying focused to the issue. We have a lot of corruption here in Moreno Valley, and when you have a lot of distraction, it takes you away from the mission, and the mission is to stop the corruption, or at least to wake us up to what the corruption is and what's going on. And that's pretty much what makes my show different than those shows. And another thing that makes my show different is I use fact-based papers like mvgordy.com, and I put those papers up. If you've been watching my show, I've been talking about Victoria Baca involved in some investigations. Been called a liar, been called this, been called that. But the fact of the matter is, it's true.
Right.
It's up to the viewer to decide if they want to elect this person or whatever. Because if it wasn't true, I would be sued, and I haven't been sued yet. So that's what makes me different.
Cool. Now, I would say this just personally because I know you. You are a very passionate guy. Like when I say passionate, you are heavily in pursuit of whatever that is. Let's just say, pertaining to your show, you are heavily in pursuit of the truth, where the mantra here is where people need to know the truth. Right. What is behind that passion? What drives you and this show?
Well, again, I've been here for a very, very long time.
Okay.
So I grew up here. Unlike a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to, there's only a few of us that have been here before Moreno Valley was a city. And most of those people are my parents' age.
Right.
And everybody forgets that those people had children, and that children would be a person like me.
Right.
So I've been here a long time, so I've seen a lot of the changes. Not as long as some people, but I've been here a very long time. So my passion is, I'm for progress.
Okay.
But I want the right progress. And when I see Moreno Valley turn into LA Central or San Pedro or whatever, and if you've seen how San Pedro ended up after years of being abused by the logistics industry, that isn't why people moved out here. This was a nice open valley orange orchids, all kinds of stuff. That's what made this valley so beautiful. It was open spaces. And so when I talk to people who moved here, and I say, well, why did you move to Moreno Valley? I mean, because back in the day, if you weren't in the military, there's no point in being out here.
Right.
So they said, oh, well, I wanted to give my kids an opportunity to have cheap homes and open spaces. They wanted to get out of the concrete jungle. So for me, unlike those people, when you're raised in LA and then you move from wherever you're moved from,
right.
you bring that mentality with you. I was raised in a valley that was open and there wasn't really much out here, which is thus why I joined the military, because that was your only option, really.
Mm-hmm.
So my passion is a little bit deep because this is my childhood home. So that's where my passion comes from in doing this show. I want what's best for the city. I'm not against progress. I'm for the right progress.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought progress up, because there has been, I would say, some progress, really since you stopped being a candidate for the 5th District. And as you alluded to earlier, you have not gone away. You have been in pursuit of progress and making sure things got done in the 5th District. So let's talk about some of the things that has actually manifested, let's say, with your help or you spearheading this. So I know that you were for, let's just talk about the Adrian Mitchell Park, which is not too
Sure.
far from here.
Sure.
Tell us about that. What happened and what inspired you to do that?
Okay, Adrian Mitchell Park. And a lot of people wondered why I was so upset and passionate about Adrian Mitchell Park.
Mm-hmm.
Well, number one, Adrian Mitchell Park, I knew the lady. Okay, we were about the same age. She had joined the Army. I joined the Air Force. We met at the base over there at the NCO club or whatever we were doing when we were younger. You know, and I'm sure you remember those days.
No.
No, you know, yeah. But you know, we're all young. We're having a good time.
Right.
But Adrian Mitchell, historically, from my understanding, was the first female soldier. Not even just. Let's take the female out of it.
Okay.
She was the first Moreno Valley resident soldier killed in combat.
Right.
And that was a friend of mine. And what made me passionate about it is in 1995, after the original dedication was done, a couple of years later, a year or maybe it's not even 2 years had passed, and it was made of bronze and stuff. So I guess somebody had stole the plaque, and 20 years basically had passed, and nobody had the sense to replace the plaque. And there's a reason why they put her park over here in the new Edgemont area, because this is where all the vets were. And I'm looking, you know, after I retired, I'm coming back and I'm saying, okay, I see the park, whatever's
Right.
going on. And make a long story short, how do you have city workers that are working there for over 20 years, they see that a plaque is missing, and it's not even reported?
Well, let me ask you this, because that is very interesting. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that, let's say, a city worker could be over there, you know, for 20 years and not notice that gone? Or even residents who are walking their dogs, kids are playing in the park. Would you say it's maybe some apathy going on here, or people just don't care? What would you say is the problem?
The problem is, and this is what I talked about when I ran, there is big apathy in the Edgemont area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, he doesn't really live in Edgemont. Well, if Moreno Valley wasn't a city back then, this would be considered Edgemont.
Right.
And it was.
Okay.
So those of us that have been here a long time, we know that this is the newer part of Edgemont.
Okay.
So that's the difference. But the problem for me is I understand the water problem in the real Edgemont, and we understand that. Mm-hmm. And the break is Ellsworth Street. So if you're east of Ellsworth Street, there is no excuse why the city cannot give me the services of the rest of the city. There's no excuse. We don't have a water problem over here. So because we are zoned in the Edgemont area, we are denied the benefits of the rest of the city. And they use that as an excuse. And so that is why I am highly upset at what's going on. Like anybody else, you want your interests first. So I want my interests first. My streets haven't been paved in over 15, 20 years.
Wow.
I pay a lot of taxes. Councilwoman Jensen, she was surprised that I pay over almost $2,100 a year in taxes. Now, if I was in the real Edgemont, I wouldn't be paying that kind of money because the property value is
Right.
not what it is.
Right.
But I'm in the newer part of Edgemont, and unfortunately, a lot of people who have moved here, they don't know the history of the city, and that's the problem. I'm trying to stand up for my neighborhood because Edgemont is a part of Moreno Valley. The problem is the original Edgemont, those people over there don't want to change.
So let me ask you this. Okay, you have gotten quite a few things done in your area. A lot of things that you said you were going to do if you became a city councilman.
Correct.
Why haven't you gone away?
Well, because the job isn't done, and what I knew is what my father told me, my mother told me a long time ago. You can't teach what you don't know. And I'm not trying to slam anybody else. I live in the Edgemont area. If you don't live here, you don't know what's going on here. That's a fact.
Right.
Okay, so Miss Jimson, like I tell people, if you go back 2 years ago and ask what was her platform, nobody could tell me what she ran on. She ran on popularity.
And I know just from having conversations with you, you'll say like you're in a grocery store or Lowe's or what have you, and people will come up to you
Sure.
and they'll ask you different questions regarding politics, and they'll say something like, why are you so hard on LaDonna Jimson or what have you, or a lot of other people's,
Mm-hmm.
your Flemings and your Cheryl Browns, who doesn't live over here, but she's been in the news lately, and
Mm-hmm.
let's go back to LaDonna. They'll say, well, she hasn't done anything wrong. And then you'll ask them, well, what has she done? And then what do they respond?
Well, I'll say what she's done or what has she done right. And then it's really, again, misinformed voters and misinformed people. They take what they see her do
Mm-hmm.
and they attribute it to her. Oh, wow, she did the Adrian Mitchell Park thing. No, she didn't.
Right,
Oh, she did the Edgemont cleanup. No, she didn't.
right.
Oh, she just did the street improvements and stuff. No, she didn't. I always tell people this. Did you know LaDonna Jimson voted for the elements of the WLC? She was voted in office to fight the WLC. But see, the problem is we keep voting the same people with a different face. What a lot of people don't know is Victoria Baca, Jimson, Denise Fleming, they all started together. These are all the same people. That means they have the same agenda. And that's one of the problems. So when I tell people, please tell me what has LaDonna done in her own right.
Right.
They can't tell me that. Right now, LaDonna's biggest thing is this Boys and Girls Club.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Let's talk about, because I know when you were running, you were talking about a place for the youth
Sure.
to go. Not just the building, but services that will help them with homework, social skills, job skills, you name it. So before you talk about what's going on with LaDonna Jimson's proposal,
Mhm.
tell me what the difference would be between what you were proposing and what she's proposing.
Well, the difference would be this. When a nonprofit comes in, like a Boys and Girls Club, the city does not control that.
Okay.
Okay? I've been here a long time. We've had a senior center since I was a little boy. That's funded by the city. It's controlled by the city.
Right.
Nobody can tell us how to run it, whatever the deal is.
Mhm.
Our tax dollars go and help our senior citizens, and it should.
Right.
Rightfully so. But, however, I'm looking at it like this. I'm a retired person now, okay? And I do well, financially and stuff like that. I don't understand why the city would spend money to fund a club for people like myself who are retired, and we have these young people who run around this city with nothing to do, and we can't fund them. And I'll give you even a better example than that. When my father passed during the Vietnam War, my mom became a widow. If it wasn't for the Boys and Girls Club and how it works, my mom would not, because back in those days you didn't have daycare, you didn't have those things back then. We had no family out here. My mom had no extended family. So she joined the Army, do what she had to do. But the point is, she would drop us off at the Boys Club, and there was 2 separate clubs back then. Now it's the Boys and Girls Club. But she would drop us at the Boys Club at 7 in the morning in the summertime. And they had programs there that gave us structure. I learned woodworking. I learned a little bit of auto mechanics. I learned how to play basketball. I learned how to swim.
Right.
I learned cultures.
Okay.
Things like that. These are structured. And I would be there from 7 all the way till 5:30 till my mom came home and picked us up.
Okay.
And that was, and what did it cost? $15 a month back then, or whatever the dues
Right.
was. And you had young people, no older than maybe 22, 23 years old, that were there as supervisors and instructors to keep us in line, and kind of, it's like a city babysitting service, but we could hang out there all day. Now, if you go to this, the center over here, the community center, youth don't want to hang out where there's a bunch of adults. They just don't want to do it.
Right.
And the community center is for the city as a whole. So if I'm going to go play basketball from 3 to 4, that's because I'm paying to be in the league.
Right.
And then there's karate at 4 to 6.
Got it.
And then, you got that, you got that. So there's a big difference. That's something it's a facility, a city facility thing to rent. A Boys and Girls Club is specific to the youth. And if we can have a senior center, we should have a youth center. And what Ms. Jimson is proposing is ridiculous. For $9 million, we could build our own.
And that was my next question. I wrote you a check right now for $9 million. How would you spend that in regards to a youth center?
Well, the first thing that I would do, I would look at the city, and everybody knows I read the city ledger. We don't have a lot of money.
Okay.
But if there was $9 million in the budget, the first thing I would do is I would look and ask the city engineer, where do we own land? And I would build on that land, because I'm not going to pay for something that we already have land for.
Right.
So that'll save money that way. But that $9 million, the first thing that I would do would be get a developer other than the one we have and build our own youth center.
Okay.
For boys and girls up until the age of 18. And I think not only would that be good for the city and giving back to the city, because we give to the developer, we need to give something for our youth, it will help the single parents out there that have to work 2 and 3 jobs, and they know that their kids are going to be somewhere in a safe, structured environment. And I think that would help them tremendously. And I don't think there's anybody out there that would be against that idea. But that idea, to go in, to have a nonprofit come in here, and then 4 years down the road after spending $9 million, they say, hey, we're going to pull out of Moreno Valley because there's too many gangs or there's too many problems there.
Right.
That's money down the tube. So her proposal, number one, it wasn't her proposal. She had no ideas. Those were my ideas. And if we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Okay. So let's shift gears here a little bit.
Sure.
It is now election day.
Sure.
Okay. What would you consider to be a game changer? For example, who would you want to see become mayor, and why would you think that person would be a game changer opposed to, because you talk about this a lot, the same old person getting elected. Now, maybe not the same physical person, but they're all connected, like you say, the 360 thing. Who would be a game changer and why? And define what game changing would be for you.
Okay. I've talked about 360 degrees of association.
Right.
And that means all these people know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. And when all these people know each other, they're the same person. I mean, a lot of people, you don't hang out with somebody that's opposite of what you are.
Right.
You know, that's like if you're I don't know, you know, if you're a Laker, you don't hang out with a Boston Celtic.
Right.
In that example.
Right.
That example.
But, yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I don't know who all the candidates are. They haven't all appeared.
Okay.
And I believe there's 6 of them that I know of that are running right now.
Okay.
But a game changer to me is we need a political revolution in this city. And I've been talking about that since day one. Everybody says, well, we need experience. We need that. We need, you know what we need? We need new ideas.
Okay.
And right now, if I'm looking at the candidates, and I'm not saying that I'm going to vote for this person, whatever. But based on what I've been saying, if you want real change, voting the same person and the same names, that's not change. So the literal definition is, if I had to go for mayor right now,
okay,
I would vote for Carrie Thien. And please ask me why.
Why would you vote for Carrie Thien?
I would vote for Carrie Thien for the simple fact that she's not connected, to my knowledge.
Okay, describe connection.
When I mean connected, she's not part of the 360 degrees. She's an outsider.
Okay.
And if you look at our political situation right now, Donald Trump, he's not part of the establishment. I mean, we know he's part of the establishment, but he's an outsider. He's looked at as an outsider. He isn't a professional politician.
Right.
He's, done.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate here a little
Okay.
bit. You brought up Donald Trump. He's not part of the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also liken him to Carrie Thien in that way.
Right.
Is that a good thing? I mean, looking at someone like Donald Trump.
It depends on how you look at it. If we keep doing what we've been doing, it's not working.
Okay.
So if it's not working, then what's the definition of insanity?
Right.
And that's where I'm saying, if you really want change, you have to vote change. Voting, I'll give you a better example. Victoria Baca recalled and disgraced.
Right.
She's running for her seat again.
Right.
If you want change in this city, do you vote for Victoria Baca?
Not if you want change.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, we have an incumbent, LaDonna Jimson. I don't know if she's done anything. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm still waiting for something to happen there with that. But you need to vote change. So, I really hope in the new 1st district that somebody rises that we can vote for. But if nobody rises, then things are going to have to be done to give people an option, because basically the system is forcing us to vote for the same people all over again. So we have to be cognizant of that, and that's what I mean by change. We need to do something drastic.
Is Carrie Thin, in your opinion, from what you know of her, capable of standing up to an Ito?
Well, the people that we have currently, are they capable of standing up to Ito?
Well, I mean, we're talking in regards to game changer, and you said that if you had to vote for a mayoral candidate,
Sure.
Carrie Thin would be it. So we know that you're huge on people not doing Ito's bidding. So is she capable, in your opinion, of doing that?
I have a lot of confidence that Dr. Thin is capable of doing the right thing.
Right.
She is a military veteran. She knows what ethics is and integrity. And we learned that in the Air Force, and if you don't have that, you don't have anything. So I do honestly believe, and I'm not slamming other candidates,
Okay.
All I'm saying is, if you're asking me today, that is who I think is capable of doing the job.
Okay. So here is the question
Okay.
that I think a lot of people want to know.
Okay.
Are you running? And if so, for what?
Very good question. I've been asked that a lot. And yes, I am running for office.
Okay.
Now, the question is, what office
Right.
should I run for? And we are still looking into that, because, like I said, again, it's still very early. We're trying to see, what is the best route to go. I mean, I would not mind being the first elected mayor. Do I think I'm popular enough? Yes, I do. A lot of people watch this show. However, you can't go out saving the world or the city if you can't take care of home first.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, this show's called News from Edgemont, and my primary concern is my neighborhood. And Edgemont, and again, I have to agree with mbgordy.com. He said it right on the head of the nail.
Okay.
As long as Edgemont continues to act as a separate entity from this city, they're going to be treated as such. When I talk about Edgemont, I talk about the neighborhood of Edgemont.
Right.
We are a neighborhood of the city.
Right.
So that's where my stance is in this newer part of Edgemont. And until that happens, Edgemont is going to continue to have the problems that they have. But that doesn't mean we forget them, because they are citizens and residents of Moreno Valley. The fact of the matter is, we have to keep trying to push them where they need to go. Yes, they do operate like an HOA. These are seasoned residents. They've been here since the 1950s. Some of them, they've been here a long time.
Right.
And unfortunately, they don't like change.
Okay.
But we can't forget those people. They are part of Moreno Valley. We're going to do the best that we can to work with them with the water problem. I'm still involved with that. A lot of stuff that I'm involved in, the truck problem that we have over here, a lot of neglect has happened over here. And because I'm in the newer part of Edgemont, doesn't mean that I should not care about what's going on over here or
Right.
over this part of the city. But the thing is, if everybody in their district takes care of their district, then the city as a whole takes care of itself. So for me, I have to fight this battle first before I can take on the city. But if it's mandated that the city needs me to do that, to run for mayor, I'm not opposed to doing that.
All right now. Okay, so last question. What's next for the show for you?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Everybody knows I'm talking about this new political show that I'm starting. It's going to be, our first broadcast is July 1st. July 1st, and we're going to be broadcasting on Sundays, once a week, our show at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And we pick Sundays because that's when everybody's winding down and it's Sunday and they're
Right.
getting ready to go and stuff like that. And it's called the Hotseat.
Okay.
And I got a lot of
I
graphics
see
of
why
it.
you say it's hot.
Yes,
Woo!
it's hot. The lights are hot. So I think it's going to be a great show because a lot of the candidates that have already declared
Yes.
have committed to come on the show. So I've already got a jump on a lot of my fellow Facebook bloggers out there. We're going to bring them on the show. I think one of the main problems is we don't know these candidates, and we find out who they are after the 460s come out.
Or after they've gotten the seat.
Or after they've gotten the seat, and
Yes.
we can see how they vote afterwards. In example, Ms. Jimson, who voted to affirm the WLC decision, which to me was stupid. Just, you were put there to fight it, just say no, you're going to lose anyway. But that's my opinion.
Okay.
So it's called the hot seat. The only people that do not want to come on the show are candidates that are backed by Edo Bendizi and Highland Fairview, Johnny Come Lately, which is a term that I coined for her, Denise Fleming does not want to come on the show, Cheryl Brown does not want to come on the show, and the hot seat isn't just about Moreno Valley.
Okay.
It's about the Inland Empire. So if you got a business, I don't care, the premise of the show is this: 3 minutes at city council is not enough time for you to express to the city and your constituents your ideas and what you want
Absolutely.
to do. So I formed this show based on getting your message out. I'm not here to slam you. Hopefully I'll have some guest hosts and things like that, so people don't feel intimidated, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea,
Right.
basically. So, but I don't want that to be a disclaimer to not come on the show. So
Okay.
we can get somebody else like yourself if you want to come on the show, and you're a neutral person, and we'll do that. But it's a thing they can put their platform out, and we can find out who these candidates are, because we've been hoodwinked every election cycle. I mean, it's one thing after another. So I hope it's going to be successful. I hope you come on the hot seat and tell us your endeavors. I mean, you are going to be one of the executive producers, so I hope you're going to do that. And we're going to talk about local politics and local businesses and what's going on in the city of Moreno Valley.
All right. Well, thank you for airing, and I know that you're pretty open, so a lot of this people probably already know, but for new people and people who don't know these things about you in the show, thank you very much for disclosing that. As you said, I am also looking forward to the hot seat, as we are sitting on it right now. We are going to have some fans and something in here, but it wasn't too bad, I must say.
Right. The studio's getting better. Don't get me wrong. And a lot of young people are coming on. We're getting a lot of young writers and young people who want the experience. So, better example, if you've seen the Young Turks on YouTube, the show is kind of based on something like that. So we're going to have a nice little panel. A lot of young people who are excited in this political cycle, they want to be a part of something great, and I think this show is going to be something great.
Awesome. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Sadiq.
Yes.
So give
Hot
us
seat.
your whole little...
Yes, hot seat. Be there. Felipe, I think he's behind the panel right now, but that's where we're at.
All right.